Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at Feral Druids and some of the stuff you need to know when you're playing a Feral Druid. So this is the talents I'm currently running. All the talents are pretty much spec'd into Feral DPS. The other ones that I haven't spec'd into are pretty much for Feral tanking in like PvE, in raids and dungeons, or I guess rated battlegrounds you can use Feral Tank, even though everyone goes blood DKs because they're overpowered. So anyway, this is pretty much it. There's probably a few things you could change around, but that's your pretty standard Feral spec. Okay, now for Glyphs. Right, you can change some of the Glyphs I've used. This is for my playstyle pretty much, so I'm going to talk about them. I'm not going to really talk about the talents because you can do it yourself. It's pretty easy to understand, and I don't want to bore you talking about all of them. So anyway, so I've got the Glyph of Berserk, and this increases the duration of Berserk by 10 seconds. Now this is it here that I've keybinded Berserk, also with my trinket, that one. And pretty much if you're in cat form, it gives you like loads and loads of energy, and to consistently keep doing that, doing high amounts of DPS, keep shredding or getting ferocious bites out while you still have rip up on the target and stuff like that, you want this, and for any duration longer it's going to help so much. You're going to get so much burst damage, so I recommend you use that one. Glyph of Rip, this is pretty mandatory. You're going to need this one. 15% more damage to Rip every time it ticks. Rip is probably your main bleed, well, it is your main bleed, so you're going to want that one for sure. Now this one, Bloodletting, this one probably can be changed for Mangle, but I've tried both and I prefer Bloodletting, and I'm going to explain why. Basically what this does is every time you use Shred or Mangle and you have Rip up on the target, it increases the duration by 2 seconds, and you can keep doing that for another 6 seconds. So let's have a look. 5 points for Rip lasts 16 seconds. So 16 seconds, add another 6, and it's going to be up there. So that's 22 seconds, which is pretty cool, especially when you can be using your combo points for other things like Ferocious Bite or Mam, however you say it, the stun effect that you can use while you're out of stealth. So that's pretty handy. Then you got the, what are these, major glyphs? That's what they're called. Yeah, major glyphs. Okay, so you've got Feral Charge, reduces the cooldown of Feral Charge, Cat and Bear. It's pretty fast in Bear already. You'll want to be switching to Bear quite a lot as well, especially when you're snared and stuff. Pounce. I got this one just for battlegrounds, or yeah, mostly for battlegrounds. When you like Feral Charge, and then you always open up with Pounce, and it increases the range. So if they're like mounted up and they're trying to escape, and you sort of got them in the daze effect from the Feral Charge, you quickly use this and you shouldn't have a problem getting them. This one's you're gonna need this one. Reduces the chance you'll be critically hit by 25% while Bark Skin is active. So what Bark Skin does, I think it's like 30% damage reduction spell. Look, I'll use it now. It's this thing going around me. Forget out cat form. This thing. Oh no, sorry, 20%. So that's 20% less damage. But with this glyph, that's 20% less damage and 25% less chance they're going to crit you. And I think that is a win. Okay, then we move down to like the minor glyphs. Let's have a look. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. So there's not really that much choice from these. You want dash. Dash is just like you need. Like 100% you need. Reduces the cooldown of dash by 20%. Dash is already, I think, on let me check. I think it's a 3-minute cooldown. Yeah, and it comes down to 2.4 minutes. So that's pretty helpful in like all situations. Rebirth. I have that one. I think that's pretty helpful. That's more when I do dungeons and stuff. And Mark of the Wild. So you don't really have that much mana as it is, and as a minor glyph reduces it by 50%. So I think that's pretty helpful. So yeah. So that's pretty much glyphs. Now I'm going to talk about gems and all that stuff. Okay, so now we're going to look at gems. So for the metal gem, you want this one pretty much for PvP. It gives you 3% crit and 55% agility. Pretty handy. You need 3 red gems, but that's not really a problem. Right, for the red gems, I've gone full out agility, which is pretty much your main gem for increased damage. So I got one there, another one there, and yeah, another one there, and also one in my relic. Okay, for yellow gems, I see a lot of people have gone 40 resilience, but to be honest, I think mastery's a lot better, because with mastery it improves the damage done by your bleeds. So that's gonna increase the damage of rake and rip, and as they're like probably your main 2 abilities for getting off damage, especially on casters who are consistently kiting you, that's going to help a lot. So for all my yellow slots I've gone mastery. Okay, for my blue slots I've gone spell penetration, and the reason I've done this is for my cyclone. So when I'm in arena or a battleground and I've got my instant spell I can use, which I'm usually going to use cyclone. Well, it depends what situation you're in, but usually cyclone. So when I'm going to use it, I don't want it to be resisted. So if you have at least 150, as you should see, spell damage penetration. So as long as you have 150 spell pen, you should be okay, and your cyclone should never get resisted. So, and that could pretty much win you the game in arena, or kill the DPS or whoever you're killing in a battleground. Reforging wise, well, first I reforged all my armor from expertise to hit and some crit to hit, and that's because you want to get hit capped, and that is 5%. Yeah, you need 5% to get fully hit capped, and so that's going to be like really important, because you don't want your rip to get missed or your ferocious bite, what you've saved up 5 combo points for. So that's pretty useful. This is my bark skin / root macro, and what it does is, as you saw before in the video, if I close this down quickly, I click my keybind and it automatically does bark skin and does nature grass. Nature grass just roots a target in place, so every time they like melee attack you, it's gonna root them in place, and that's 3 times. So say you have like a warrior or someone on you, and you click that, and you can like sort of run away and they can't really charge you or anything, so that's pretty handy. If you want to copy the macro, just pause it now. So for my second macro, I have this is Berserk macro. I talked about it earlier. It basically casts Berserk and it casts my trinket at the same time, so I get like I get a lot of damage, which is really good for a good burst in arena. or a battleground. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now this one you're gonna 100% want to have. What it does a mangle and a maul while you're in bear form at once. So if I just run over to a target dummy really quickly. Okay, right, we're here. So if I go in bear form, of course you're going to keep me in flight form. I am in bear form, just gotta wait for my computer. There we go. Okay, so if I use, as you can see here, I'm just going to click one, and as you can see it does 2 attacks and your white attack, and that basically done mangle and maul at the same time. So there again, so I hit 16k and 5k, so it's pretty handy, and especially as bear form you get a lot of rage just from people hitting you, so I'd recommend you getting this a lot. It's pretty good. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for the macros. Oh, this one. This basically does pounce. Right, so when you're in cat form and you're stealthed, it does pounce. When you're out of stealth, let me just get some combo points, and I click it again, it does marm, as you can see here. So in stealth does pounce, out of stealth does marm, which is pretty handy, so you don't have to, if you do use keybinds, which you should in PvP, you just need to keybind it to like 1 key, and it doesn't use up 2 keys, so that's pretty handy. So I think that's all the macros I have. Feral. Oh, I got my focus macro for cyclone when you're in arena. If you want to cyclone the healer or the other DPS, that's pretty handy. I also got this one. Basically, just as you can see here, I've got it on Q. So if I click that twice, well, if I get out of it a second, basically what it does is it puts me into cat form, and also I've got to wait for the cooldown. There we go. So you click it once, it puts you into cat form. Click it twice, it puts you into prowl. So it's just like freeing up some other keybind keys for other spells and stuff. Click it again, it brings you out of stealth. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the macros. Remember to comment, like and subscribe.